And hello and welcome back to the old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio's Glowing in the Dark, our 31st year on the air at 27085 in the Central Valley of California, Channel 11, and everywhere else at oldtuberadio.net doing the live stream. And this is also hello to those tuning in the live stream at YouTube. Before we go any further, I did see Mike, SWL13, checking in on the big board at oldtuberadio.net. And, Mike, we've got you in. And I want to also wave a hand to KLQ0634 out of Lake County, Florida. Rich, who is always good at updating our information and filling in where we need it here at the Old Tube Radio Network. So thanks, Rich. Good to have you aboard. And let's find the jingle singers to get us started off in our radio endeavor here at the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen?
Greetings to you.
Wherever you are, for music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
the station for you is
OTR.
And the Old Tube Radio Network is listening for your radio check-ins.
20 station, 2020. 25.
All right, we've got a lot of stations out there. 20 stand by. I think we're going to take you first for radios. Also, I hear Jerry 25 as well. There was a station. Was there an SWL check-in?
Yes, there was.
All right, let's pick up the SWLs here. Who do we have? Over.
50 checking.
All right, 5-0. The alarm clock on the radio table did go off. I knew it wouldn't fail you. Thanks, Mark. 50 is check-in. Any other shortwave listeners that would like to get checked in?
Yeah, SWL 93.
All right, and live and direct from his sideband encounter and in front of the Old Tube Radio, SWL 93. Thanks, Louis. We got you checked in.
Thank you much. We're out.
Okay, now let's go back because I do have the where is it? The new radio list here. It is somewhere under all the papers. All right, I will officially sign into that. I've got ready to check in. SWL 20 Harvey is up and ready. Jerry is sitting in the green room. Was there another station in there that I should add to the radio queue? All right, let's start with that. And I'm going to sign in for the 20th of August, 2016. And I will say, hello, Harvey, over.
Okay, number 20, checking in on another General Radio Telephone Super MC 11A. This is a new one. And I finally figured out what was wrong and got her going. Should be on frequency. Hopefully it's sounding okay. And it does work with the plug too. So I'll try that after you give me a check here.
Okay, boy, it's a very nice audio. Nice and clear. And I guess I shouldn't. I'm not surprised, and I shouldn't be surprised because it is the General Radio Telephone, the Super MC 11A, any of the Super MC series always have the really nice audio. I would like to add a picture of it here coming up, but it looks like we're having some issues. I'll reconnoiter on the oldtuberadio.com site for updating the radios, but in the meantime, audio is worth 1,000 pictures, so give us another transmission on the General Radio Telephone Super MC 11A Harvey.
Okay, I just put the plug in there, and hopefully it should be sounding almost as good.
Yeah, I think so. Let me actually pay a little more attention to meters and things here, and if you are able, we'll do the plug. That is an S9 a really nice S9 signal. The audio sounds fine. I didn't see much movement on the S meter, so if you want to try it in the non-plugged or non-strapped position, as it were, we can see, I can at least give you an idea what the difference is S meter-wise.
Okay, this is kind of somewhat low power. About 4 or 5 watts swing to about 10 or so. And frequency meter says everything seems to be okay.
Yes, and the next transmission, there we go. There's the Super MC11A. Let's see if that will come up on the picture here. Not quite sure when we had the scooter incident. if the camera got knocked off. No, it looks like it's okay. It looks like we're going to have a picture of the Super MC11A. In fact, if you're at the YouTube, watching the YouTube, there is a really nice picture of a radio like the one Harvey is speaking on. And let's see, what was I going to tell you? Oh, yes, S9 with solid carrier, not much modulation movement on the meter with the radio strapped and unplugged, if you will. S8 modulating up to S9, and the audio just a little bit louder, but not bad either way. Not bad either way. So I would say if the noise floor isn't excessive, you can get by in the lower power mode, but both ways sounding good. Your next transmission will do a 0 beat here.
Okay. It's not doing like a lot of the other MC11s do. I've made a tube modification there. I substituted a tube, and then I still have to go through all the other tubes that say general radio telephone on them, and hopefully we'll get it a little better, but this should do for tonight.
All right. Oops, it's doing quite well. If you listen to the archives, you will be very pleased with the audio. And you probably told me the microphone you're using, but I forgot. But it's a good match for it. If it's the stock mic, I wouldn't be surprised because of how good Cliff and Chris sound on theirs. The tube complements. There are 9 tubes. I'm not sure which one you substituted. The ECLL 800 is the mystery tube in there. Uses the nice audio 12AX7A. I'm using a couple of those in my audio gear chain here tonight. So can't go wrong with general radio telephone. I 0 beat you at 27.084.775 or something. So very close to being right on frequency. Give us another transmission. You are Radio 1 tonight on the general radio telephone Super MC11A. You might be able to lock that one down because it sounds good. Over.
Okay. I've done the happy medium on tuning between the low and the high, so everything is on frequency and working fairly well. The tube switch was a 6GE5 final. I pulled it out and put a 6HB5 in there. The GE5 I was able to test was a little weak, so I just put a HB5 in that I think is fairly okay, and it seems to be doing all right. Whether I get the case on or not, I'm looking at it, and I think I can get the cabinet, or I could slide this in without lopping the top of the tube off. The microphone is the Turner Gold Custom Special 1 gold mic that matches the radio. Okay, I'm going to back on out, get out of here, go back in and listen where it's a little cooler.
All right, and just sounds good all the way around. Nice audio. I see by the meter that the plug is back in. The audio is still good. Not maybe just a little difference in clarity, but I think, like you said, you struck the happy medium to not overstrap things, and that works out nice. It makes it a nice addition if you're needing a little bit of extra bass, I guess, on the carrier to get through a heavy noise floor. Radio number 1, General Radio Telephone, Super MC11A. Thanks, Harvey. And thanks to our stations patiently standing by. Jerry, I hope you didn't have to run away. I hope you are not missing on the Olympics the old tube radio toss. And if you've gone away to watch that, I will understand. But hello 25, over.
And hello, Dennis, number 33, and hello to Bozo. Anyway, always a pleasure to talk with you. This is the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, two-piece radio. I know you know it well. Actually conducted the net on it more than once, I believe. And let's see, what else? That's about it. We have the stock banana mic, desk mic on it. And on the light air is on, the needles are swinging, and everything seems to be working. So, anyway, back to you, Dennis.
All right, back to me in the studio. As it were, radio number 2, I'll log that one in at 8:50 here, Pacific Daylight Time in Central California. We've got Jerry on his Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. I'm not sure what happened to my picture here, but there it is. That is, if you're watching the YouTube, that's a their Garden Variety Mark III. There we go. Get both in there. A little darker case, I think. And I've operated Jerry's radio before. I think his case is a little bit more on the gold side, but the audio is good. Great signal here always. And that's one of those radios you really don't have to touch. I mean, you've got plenty of controls that you can adjust if you want, but it always seems like you don't really have to do much with that one. And it sounds good, and we are not that close together. Give us another transmission on the Browning, over.
Okay, Dennis. Anyway, yeah, just a two-piece radio with the spot button in the middle, dial the transmit and receiver on the same frequency. And it's kind of a cool radio. When I first met number 8, Everett, he kind of encouraged me to get one, and I got one, and I tell you what, I loved it. I just love it. So, Miss Everett, and oh, by the way, if you could check in 26 and 74 too, not to put any extra paperwork on your side, but I think Jim's up in Benicia, and Jill's, I think she's watching a movie. Maybe diners, drive-ins, and dives. I don't know. But anyway, if you could do that for me, that'd be great, Dennis. Anyway, always great to hear you, and we'll be listening. Back to you.
All right, and definitely appreciate your radio check-ins and all the work you've done for us in the past. And I will get the other SWL check-ins, and yes, definitely miss the check-ins. Although the radios are still checking in here. The SWL 8 collection, some of those radios are still checking in here. Just maybe not followed by the voice we might expect. But I think he would enjoy that. Thanks for Radio 2. And I have put the alarm clock up here for Wednesday night so that I will try to be better on kicking into the net, 10-meter net. Thanks for the Browning. And this is the Old Tube Radio Network. We are listening for any and all check-ins.
Bronco 2 yard.
Okay, we've got 2 stations. I've got SWL 56. Phil, you will be next. Who was the other breaking station?
54.
And 54. All right, Larry. We'll put you in the radio green room and be right with you. on radio number 4. But first, let's talk to what I believe will be radio number 3 at 8:55. Hello, Phil.
Hello, Dennis. From beautiful downtown Schoolcraft, Michigan, the Demco Satellite Deluxe.
Okay, and nice, clear audio. Like the Buddies, the Demcos, if they're run certain ways, can be really, really loud and make me do this to my headphoniums. But you've got it set up in the rag chew mode. So give us another transmission and tell us a little bit more about the Demco satellite.
Okay, well, first, let's do this. This is with the modulator out and modulator in.
Oh, yeah, it is doing what one would expect a Demco modulator to do, probably on any radio, because the modulators were not specific to the Demcos. You could plug your microphone. The microphone plugs into the front of the box, and then the modulator output plugs into your radio of choice. So having it in does a good thing. And let's see, you said you were on the satellite. What was the other designation? I want to make sure I call it the right one here.
It's the Satellite Deluxe, if I'm not mistaken. It's a 3-piece radio. The modulator contains the speaker and the modulator are in one unit. It's got so many indicator lamps and knobs and buttons that make a 3-year-old go happy.
Oh yeah, it is up there with the Brownings, where you have the transmitter receiver combination. We see a lot of the early '60s radios that are basically volume squelch and maybe channel and a pilot light, which was sort of, I guess, perhaps the intent of Citizen Band was to not make things too elaborate, too technical, but it didn't take long for the manufacturer to realize that some of the operators definitely want to have a big station, and that is one of them. So I may actually have a picture of a likeness there. I'll pop it up here. There's a lot of, between Command and Demco, a lot of ways for me to get the wrong one. We'll see how I do. Anyway, give us another transmission before we head off to Radio 4. And again, I commend you on really doing a good job of some good audio there.
Well, thank you, Dennis. The receiver has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 knobs, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 indicator lights. The transmitter has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 knobs, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 indicator lights, and it's got one slide switch as well. Oh, and the receiver does have a rocker switch too. So there's a bunch of stuff to play with.
Absolutely. And then in between that, or however it works on the setup, you throw in the big matching speaker box that's got the modulator built in, and you have a very large, impressive radio that, at least for me, it might take a half hour once I sat down to to get the thing going and set up the way I want it. Radio number 3, the Demco Satellite Deluxe. If you're watching our YouTube video, you're seeing a picture of a Demco Satellite Deluxe, and there is the 12, 13, 14 knobs and 10 plus lights and a meter on each item, and very impressive. So anybody who's had one of those or has one of those definitely loves to do the tweak and peak. Thank you, Phil. We don't have the Demcos that often, and we're always glad when we get them.
Well, thank you, Dennis, and back to OTR.
And he's right, back to the OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network, in our 31st year of doing just what we're doing, and we are standing by here on the frequency, and very much like it might have been in 1965 or 1972, or whenever the radio, like the Demco base station, 1966, $395. This is how it might have sounded then. We've got Larry, SWL54, who is in front of one of his many radios in his collection, and he's going to tell us about that for Radio 4. Hello. Thanks for being patient with us, Larry. Hello, radio number 4.
Yeah. Well, I got also a Demco satellite deluxe here.
Okay, that's the radio you were on now. Over.
Yes, sir.
All right, and sounding equally as good. So we go from not hearing many Demcos to right now the most heard radio tonight, the Demco Satellite Deluxe. Very, very impressive. I think, and you know radios as well as anyone. When you come down to the big five, manufacturers between Tram and Browning and General Radio, Telephone, and Demco, and some of the older tube sets, you've got to say that's one impressive radio.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just got it going thanks to Harvey and Mr. Beal out of Red Monkey. And I like the radio. I've had it a while, but I never did get it fixed and got it going.
All right, well, it sounds good. The audio is doing a good job. Like I mentioned to Phil, the original price on that radio was $395 in 1966 dollars. It's 23 crystal controlled transmit, of course. According to the FCC, it's got to be crystal controlled, and variable tuning on the and crystal controlled, and plus variable tuning on the receiver. And I'm showing that there is, for those who may need one or at least want to look at how you would drive that thing. There's an operator manual available for that radio at oldtuberadio.net. But doing a good job for radio number 4. Give us another transmission, and we're glad you brought it by.
All right, Dennis. I'll talk here a second, just saying nothing. And this is also the same set, 3-piece with the modulator and all that. And this is a very stock mic.
Okay, are you... Phil gave us the demonstration with the modulator in and out. Are you running? I'm assuming you are, because the audio is nice. Running the modulator in line?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I don't think you have to change a thing. It's set up really nice on the audio, crystal clear. And just a reminder, we do record the audio for each net episode here. So if you go to oldtuberadio.net anytime, there is a button that says archive. If you click on that and wait about a minute for everything to load up, you will, if you go to today's date, the August 20th, and click to Tube Radio Check-ins, somewhere in that audio archive will be a replay of what you're doing, and you can hear how great the satellite sounds. Radio number 4, give us another transmission. Larry, thanks for bringing it by.
Sure, Dennis, anytime. I got another one warmed up here. I'll get it later.
All right, we're here until at least 10 o'clock, so we will be happy to assist you in checking in more radios. I will add, if you're at oldtuberadio.net, I'm going to add, we were showing a picture of the radio, I'm going to add the Demco line advertisement that shows the Satellite Deluxe along with the standalone modulator and some other things. If you've got a computer where you can expand things, you'll see all the products they had back in the 1965 and 1966. Also, I will say that this is the Old Tube Radio Network. I want to see if the Jingle Singers are ready, and yes, they are. So let's head over to let them tell us about the favorite place to be on a Saturday night.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite slot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
And OTR is listening for your radio check-ins. And there was a good carrier, but I did not hear any audio. And a really good carrier. I'm hearing the crunching of the relays, but no audio. All right. Well, anyway, check the wiggle meters, check the lights, says we know a lot of these tube radios have various ways to let you, maybe the magic eye, let you know if you're modulating or not. And we are standing by here at the Old Tube Radio Network.
45.
Now, there is some audio, video, and all sorts of good things. I think Radio 5 is in the mix. Hello, Paul. What have you got for us tonight? Over.
Yeah, okay. I think we doubled with somebody there. Somebody else out there. I don't know who it was. Pretty loud. Anyway, I'm checking in on this 1959 Helicrafters radio.
Aha, okay. We do occasionally get the pre-1960 radios, the Class D citizen service created in 1958. So there's plenty out there. Just, do they still exist? Well, if you listen to the Old Tube Radio Network, you know that they do. One of my favorite manufacturers is Helicrafters, so I will be curious to see what it is you have up on the radio table tonight, Paul. Over.
Okay, well, I'm keying this thing with my fingers. It doesn't have a microphone switch or anything on it. This is a model CB1 by Helicrafters.
Okay, I think I have a really great picture, courtesy of Cliff, of the CB1. And he even is displaying what it is that you are needing to do to get that keyed up. So let me put that up for our YouTube viewers. And there it is. It almost looks like it's a large speaker. It does have a magic eye, believe it or not. And what would you call that? A push-to-talk bar? Over?
Yeah, it's got the magic eye, all right. And doggone, Clip's got the original microphone on top there, too. I don't have that. I wish I did. I'm talking on a banana mic, ceramic banana mic. I think you're doing a pretty good job on the radio. But this is quite a radio, I'll tell you. In 1959, I guess it would be the first one that Helicrafters made out with a CB1 on it. It's very, very pretty on the front. It's not gauges, no meters, no nothing on the thing. Just got a red light on the bottom, and it's got the magic eye, which I love looking at. It's flashing it out and getting smaller. It's like a meter, but it's a tube. Very interesting. I think you can fill up a little bit, say a little bit more about the magic eye.
Okay, and that was not unusual for the early 1960s or pre-1960s radios to have a magic eye tube for the modulation indicator. Yes, indeed. I'm looking. I see that the CB1, the little phone, 1959, and it shows up in Sam's PhotoFax #1, first one they did to page 59. So it's definitely an early issue. And I have a Helicrafters HT37, which I believe is around that time. That is an amateur radio transmitter, but it's similar in that I think it has the similar knob. Your volume, I think that's the volume knob there, is one of their knob styles that they used in some of their amateur radio gear. And it almost looks like it was constructed in one of their larger speaker boxes. And then the chassis inside of that. So Helicrafters, of course, no stranger when it comes to receivers, of course, and transmitters as well. So I think it was just easy for them to get into the Class D side of things. And there is, like you said, their first endeavor. The Magic Eye tube, I'm trying to think what tube they used for that. I think it's a 6E5. It does have 11 tubes, which is actually quite a few for the later little phones have fewer tubes in them. But it's sounding good. The microphone is a good match for that radio. Take another transmission.
Yeah, they did a good job there, Red Mercury. I guarantee you that. Bill and Harvey. This radio, I didn't have any paperwork or anything on the thing, and opened it up, and all the tubes were original tubes in the thing. Couldn't believe it. So I took them over to the experts and had them tune it up. They did a mighty good job on the thing. That's about it. And thanks a million for checking it in, Dennis.
All right, and likewise, I'm going to say thanks a million for bringing it by, because if it wasn't for our tube radio operators, bringing these radios by, we would have a very short net, and we we don't want that. So we really enjoy the radios. And I'm sure some of our listeners out there at old2radio.net may be familiar with Hallicrafters. My very first 11-meter radio, if you will, was a 100 milliwatt Hallicrafters. I think it was a CB11 or CB11A, the walkie-talkies. And boy, the things they're like a brick. The metal case, a nice battery meter, and I had a load of fun with that, and that's sort of what kept me going, getting into bigger and better things. Thanks for radio number 5 on the Old Tube Radio Network. All right, and Scooter, the radio cat, has made an appearance. That's what it is. So say hi, Scooter. No, actually, you're sounding good. I'm not exactly sure where I have my volume adjusted across the room here, but it sounds good. I can hear you over. Yeah, it's working really well. You're not quite full fighting, but my antenna is really in a bad spot. So this is much, much better than I've heard you before, and the audio is incredibly nice. So not a problem. Good deal. I'll have to check into that KB6GFD. Okay, good. I'll be interested to see what you guys find out because I think I'm going to have to replace my little 2-meter FM in the truck because it is not reliable anymore. And that one sounds really good, so I'm impressed so far, and it might be a good way to go. All right, back to the other microphonium, KB6GFD. All right, and talking to Harvey, SWL20 there on the crossband frequency. Jingle Singers are saying they are ready to promote the cause here tonight, and we'll let them do that because, you know, OTR is a friendly place to be.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, the friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
54.
All right, and as promised, in the radio room tonight, hello, Larry. Sounds like you've got radio number 6.
Yeah, we got of course you hear the squeal there, Eagle. It's a Donnie S9 8-channel with the R2700 receiver.
Wow, okay, nice It's got the classic ping, and of course you're orchestrating it perfectly. Not sure if I've got a shot of the S9. I've got a, let's see, it looks like I've got a 23 channel S9 I can put up. You're saying that is the a 9 channel or an 8 channel radio on the transmit?
Yeah, it's an S9, the 8 channel. It's got 8 red lights in the front. You can go to the channel or whatever. Yeah, I have an S9 23 channel too over there. It's hooked up, but I ain't warmed it up.
Okay, and what was the receiver combination for that?
The Browning R2700.
Okay, yeah, the classic, very early 60s combination. And that is, I was going to say, if I wanted to record a classic Eagle ping for some type of sound effects record, whatever you're doing would be it. It's got a perfect tone. It's not too screechy. It's and of course anybody who owns a Browning knows that to get that perfect ping, you do have to orchestrate things a little bit between how the radio is adjusted and the squelch is adjusted and where the microphone is and where the speaker is. But of course, Larry's no stranger to that. Give us another transmission. The Browning sounding excellent.
Okay, Dennis. Yeah, I haven't fired this one up in a while. I need to run these once in a while, so I thought I'd stay up tonight and fire up a few. So this is probably the last one. I'm not sure, but maybe.
All right, not a problem, because you know we here at the Old Tube Radio Network will keep the light on for at least between 8 and 10 p.m. for all the tube radios that might want to come up on the front porch here and take a transmission, and we're glad you are doing that with the Browning S9 transmitter, the 8-channel version, and the R2700 receiver combination, sounding really good, nice audio. So give us another transmission, and thanks for bringing it by tonight.
Okay, Dennis. I'll say a little bit here and get on off of here. You're sounding pretty good yourself tonight.
Okay, well, that's one reason I like doing the net, because the old tube radio receivers, that tube audio quality often make my station sound better than it actually is. So I enjoy that, the fact that all our radio operators have great receivers as well. Thanks, Larry. Radio number 6 sounding good.
How about 54 again?
We can do that over.
Yeah, this is my Mark III here. My most pounded radio here. It's got the sideband, the SWR set, off and on, of course the channel selector, and also got the Mark III 180 goes with it, and of course the receiver with the Eagle on the speaker and on the air light, meter switch antenna. Your speaker for in or out or whatever there. Let's see. Sideband, off and on. Squelch and main, transmit 1 and 2 on that.
Okay, and for those who are watching our YouTube, if you're not familiar with the Browning Mark III combination, there it is. This one is stacked. We have a transmitter on the bottom, I believe, receivers on the top, but you can put them side by side if you have the real estate. There is the Flying Eagle on the big speakers. So one reason everybody sounds good on these radios is the speaker on that Browning, I think, is larger than most of the CB sets that are sold today. Just the speaker is large.
Yeah, it's got a big speaker in it there for sure.
And doing a good job on the transmit audio side as well. The Browning Golden Eagle Mark III in its various forms, I think, originally hit the market in 1972, right in the middle of the craze that when there were, I don't know, what, 3 or 4 million people possibly on the air. And in $1972, this was basically the top of the line radio for anywhere from $650 to about $750. I remember driving, and it must have been 1972, to the Bakersfield, because I was living in LA area at the time, up to the Bakersfield break, and one of the prizes that they had was a Browning Mark III. I think they had just come out, so it was probably 1972, and just amazed that they were able to tally up a $750 radio for a prize. But of course, I didn't go home with it. You are sounding good, Larry, with radio number 7.
Thank you, Dennis.
And this is your old Tube Radio Network. We are listening for more.
And this is one of the old Tube Radio operators.
We appreciate our Tube Radio operators because they have those Tube radios to check in. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Dennis. Now, SWL 37 here. We're going to check in our old one here, our old General Radio Telephone, the Super MC11A, a 24-channel tuber that glows in the dark. And also, we're running this here with a handheld stock microphone. Over.
And of course, it is sounding good as it always does. Doesn't seem to miss a beat. And would you believe you are not the first, but the second General Radio Telephone Super MC11A to check in this evening?
Well, that's better than none at all. Better than fourth or fifth, but I'd be happy if I was the fifth one on the OTR, on the old General, on the Generals. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. On that radio I'm talking on. I wouldn't mind me if I was the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, or ninth, just so we check them in.
And that is why we're here, just so we can check them in, whatever they might be, however they might sound. We're not picky. The General Radio Telephone from Harvey was the first radio of the evening, and that was a new one for him. And it sounded every bit as good as yours. I think, though, he was not using... Did I write down what he was using for the microphone? I don't know. I don't think it was the stock microphone, but again, as we mentioned, it's very hard to have the MC11A sound bad. Take another transmission before you head over to some other radio in the radio room there.
Okay, yeah, we got to have company here in a bit. We got family from Michigan up here, but anyway, I wanted to get in here and get this in here. I want to try to get another one in before it's over with, though. I'll try to get back here as soon as possible.
All right, we will be here as long as we can. Radio number 8, the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A with 9 tubes, all working properly, and items available, more information available in Sam's PhotoFax 22 on page 45. Thanks for bringing it by. And the break OTRs. It has, we've got audio now, I do believe. Hello, Phil.
Well, real good. No, I had tried to check in on my Hammerland Charlie Brown 23, but I could see it put out a nice signal, but just zero audio. This one, however, is a tram, because there is nothing like a tram. The Tram Titan 2 Alpha.
Okay, and it went from kind of very low audio to, I think, the tube warmed up, and now you have probably more audio than you want. But let's see where it lands the next time you key up. And I think we've had this issue before with this particular radio, so we are not in any way ashamed of that. Radio number 9, Tram Titan 2A, give us another transmission, see where we're at here.
Okay, yeah, this one seems to have some intermittent problems. I think we discussed mic cord and perhaps a few other things. I guess I'm going to have to clear out that spare bedroom in my house, and I'll probably stay here for a while. But at any rate, this is the last of the Tram Titan series to be all tube. Over.
Okay, yes, indeed. We have a a picture of the Tram Titan 2A. 1971, very typical for the 70, 71, 72, as we mentioned, the CB craze really catching on, and the radio started to look more like your Kenwood or Sherwood or whatever, Marantz stereos of the day, because the manufacturers finally realized that with the popularity of Citizen Band, these radios now were no longer on the workbench in the garage. They were in the living room, because this was social media at the time. The television, after you watched your favorite TV show at 8:30, the television would go off, and the nice piece of furniture, which this is, a nice wood cabinet and like a Naugahyde vinyl top, would be turned on, and you would tune into your favorite local channel, and you would probably spend the rest of the evening chatting with your friends, much the way we do here on the Old Tube Radio Network. It's still a little bit funkiness in the audio, but give us another transmission on Radio 9.
Okay, well, yeah, the funkiness has been as a non-issue. We can hopefully get it unfunked one of these days. Anyway, Dennis, thank you, and back to OTR.
Okay, it's 100%. I've got a 100% copy. It just decides whether it wants to be very loud or maybe not so loud. And indeed, it could be something with a mic. It almost sounds like it could be something with a microphonium cord or tubes warming up. Tram Titan 2A, we mentioned a year later the Browning in the $700 range, the Mark III. This would have been an earlier, I guess, top-of-the-line tram, so it would have been a competition for the Mark II, and these sold for just around $500 in 1971. The Titan 2A added the wood cabinet, and as Phil said, the last of the tube versions of the Titans. Some electrical upgrades, a bigger and better modulator final tube. It had 15 tubes, believe it or not. That's quite a bit. And a nice on the receiver, as Tram had been doing, the Collins mechanical filter in the front end. And what we didn't mention, but we will add to this, it was a sideband radio, but it was double sideband, all of like the Regencies. So probably not as popular in the sideband mode, but and I don't think the production run on this was all that long, but we are appreciated that you brought it by tonight. Thanks, Phil.
Greg OTR.
And just a note, oldtuberadio.com does have a mic wiring pinout for that. So we need to work on the microphone. They do have the 4-pin mic pinout over at oldtuberadio.com. There was a break OTR. We will see where we're at with that. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Dennis. SWL 37 here again. This time here, we're going to take you up here with our Citizens little phone, the Helicopters model CD3A, an 8-channel radio with the original handheld microphone. Over.
Okay, we must be having audio gremlins tonight, because we have heard that radio in prior episodes here at the Old Tube Radio Network, and the audio, albeit maybe low, and that's because it's stock microphonium, did not have, I'm hearing a buzz, a little AC hum that normally isn't there. So we might have to just double check that you do not have the microphone resting or setting near, I don't know, fluorescent lights or something like that. Over.
Well, no fluorescent lights. Inside the room's always on, though, but no, I'm just right here on this one here. I don't know if coax is such a thing. I can't tell.
Well, it could be some grounding. That's what it sounds like. Maybe a little grounding issue somewhere. But it does have audio, and I'm hearing you 100%, so no problem. As Phil said, we will hope it will unfunk itself when it returns to the airwaves. You are Radio 10, by the way, so I know you always pride yourself into making sure that we get double digits, and thanks to you, we have.
Is that any better right there? I just checked, and I had a loose coax connector, where the screws on. That was a little bit loose on two of them there. Is that any better?
Yeah, that helps a little bit. It is still there, though, and again, it is not as loud as you or blocking your audio in any way. Just with that microphone, as you know, you have to keep close to the microphonium. It's more than I would normally hear, but I think you're okay.
Oh, yeah, I hope so. All right, Dennis. This was one of them here that I was going to check in, so I don't know if I'm going to make any more, but hey, I did make two of them.
All right, well, we're glad to get the Hallicrafters, and that is our second Hallicrafters of the evening, believe it or not. And we will take them as we can get them. And, of course, as you know, Hallicrafters, one of my favorite manufacturers. Radio number 10, the CB3A. Actually, in our last couple of check-ins, one of the newer radios from 1963. More in the bargain department. We were talking about the $700 Browning, the $500 Tram. Of course, those were top-of-the-line radios with S-meters and sideband and all 23 channels. Here you go, $159.95 in 1963, and that was without the receive VFO and the S-meter, which were options, sort of like if you bought a Ford Falcon in 1963 and you needed to get a radio and a heater added in, you could add an S-meter and a variable receive. I think it was a VFO, and this one, there it is, if you're watching the YouTube video, has in the panel, in the front panel there, the extra, the one we're showing. Now, I know Chris's doesn't. It has the S-meter, and then over here would be where you put in the VFO. In fact, before I go, Chris, let me confirm that you do not have between your channel selected there where it says A, B, C, D, E, and anything in those rectangles.
Nothing on either side, but there is a big E right in the middle.
E for channel 11 or excellence. And the crystal is working well. Radio 10, Hallicrafters CB3A little phone. What else? Similar to, it says it's similar to the RCA Mark 7. And we've been talking about the RCA Mark series, but basically the later ones, the Mark 9, 8, 9, and the 10. So we'll have to call up the Mark 7, but it'd be interesting to see if RCA made Hallicrafters radio or Hallicrafters made it for RCA. Interesting. And there is a schematic at oldtuberadio.com. So if you want to find out more about this radio, do a little peeking and tweaking, go to oldtuberadio.com and you can pick up a schematic. Let me stop talking. Let me let you take another transmission, Chris, before you go. And thanks for grabbing a little time for the network tonight.
You bet, Dennis. And you have a good one out there, and we'll still be listening anyway. Have a good evening. I'm out.
All right, and you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network. Let's bring the camera back to the control room. And as we do that, I think if I have all the wires connected over to the other studio, which I cannot see because of the wall of equipment here, we will have the Jingle Singers tell us about the latest style, such that it is in the 21st century.
You're listening in the latest style at
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11 Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
All right, and the radios just keep on coming. Hello, 54.
Yeah, I hope the audio's working okay on this thing. I haven't had it fired up in a long time. This is the S23 and the R27. I also have the 180 with it. Any other information here? It's got the A&L push on. It's got the narrowband, broad, volume of course, fixed or manual, and the AVC push on for RF gain. That's the receiver, of course, and the channel selector and the meter. Transmitter, it's got less buttons on it. It's got the SWR calibrating knob, meter, of course the spot button, and the channel selector, on the air light, and a meter.
All right, the S23R27 combination, the S being the sending unit or the transmitter, the R being the receiver. And I think that was the first, if you want to call it Eagle, I think somewhere on there. And it's, okay, I see it on the, we're showing the 23 transmitter. There's sort of a silhouette of an eagle's head there. So hence the first Eagle. And yeah, the a lot less knobs. It has a really neat on-the-air light though. And the radio is talking to you a little bit. Sounds like things are warming up, a little bit of static, a little bit of crackle, but your voice, of course, coming through quite nicely on Radio 11. Back to you.
Yeah, I got another one doing that squeal like me. It's been a long time since I fired this thing up. And the mic is, of course, D104 a Black Eagle. It is amplified, but it's on the off position, you can say.
Okay. And it's working, and sometimes the ping also will give you an idea if it's a little scratchy or something. You know that the audio coming through may be not quite up to par, but I'm hearing you 100% on that combination there. And that was a real popular set for Browning, and I believe those came out in original issue, I think 1964, around in that time.
Button here. Top one don't want to hit too good, I guess. Yeah, it was around that time. I've got more up there, but I'm going to have to go to bed. This will be my last check-in for tonight there, Dennis.
All right, well, you're doing good. We are, you're at Radio 11. There's, for the people in the video, there is the Browning R2700 receiver. And again, Browning doing what Browning did best, and that was provide you with a very large receiver with a nice large speaker that sounded good. Browning's one of the top-of-the-line receivers all throughout the 1960s and 1970s, and the S-meter as well. And a question, Larry, before you go. We're looking at the channel selector here, and there are two windows, to the right and to the left of the selector knob. So, how did they designate? Did they have a channel? Did they give you a channel number and a frequency, or is what's on either side of those in those windows?
Well, channel 11 on the left-hand side, and the 47085 is on the other side.
All right, pretty neat. And a lot of the radios didn't do that. They didn't give you a frequency designator with the channel number, because of course it's channelized, and you, in theory, didn't need to know what frequency you're on. But I always thought that was kind of interesting and neat that they did that in including the frequency of the crystal that you were listening to. Or maybe that would help out, I guess, if you wanted to SWL somewhere else. At least you'd know what part of the 27 megacycle frequencies that you were on. Radio 11, the Browning Eagle S23R27 combination. Thanks, Larry, for your efforts tonight on the Old Tube Radio Network. I'll look for you next time around. And 45, hello, Paul. We've got you in there, and I just want to make a note. I finally saw the post here that Mesquite, Texas, was indeed Thomas. I thought it was, and I did get him checked in. I want to make sure, but I want to acknowledge, Thomas, if you're listening, that we did not forget you. From whatever part of the big state of Texas it decides that you are going to be checking in from. And I see Neil's got a response too. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, let's head over to Radio 12. Hello, Paul.
Okay, Dennis. Took a while to get this thing to work for me, I'll tell you that. It's a Heathkit Comanche, and and it's got a Heathkit Cheyenne. The Cheyenne is the monitor, that's the transmitter. Get it mixed up. Comanche is the receiver. Oh, I think Harvey's checked him in before. You got a picture of these things in the archive. I asked Rob if he put one in, so it shows a picture there now.
Oh, well, let me see if I can find it, because I have one that would not be that radio, and we have a lot of Heathkit, so I'll have to see where it shows up in the mix. Boy, I sure like the audio on that. It has, I want to say it's a control carrier, but I don't know if it's like screen modulation or whatever they do, but it looks really nice on the meter, and it gives it a nice fidelity to that. And as you are probably hearing as well, because of the separate transmitter and receiver, when you first keyed up, I thought he's found yet another Browning, but it is indeed the Heathkit combination. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Well, this thing got cracks through the speaker, but knocks me off the chair every time I key it up. It's really noisy. It's a real interesting radio. It keys low and swings high, more or less, to say anything to say gently how it is. Very nice radio, because this is 1959 also. They made these, started making these in 59, and I think they went up to 62 or something on the thing. But if you'll find the pictures are under Comanche. It'd be Heathkit Comanche. I think, there you got it. You got it. Okay. I'll let you go ahead and finish it up here.
Okay, that is a picture. That is probably not the exact one that I'd like to get, but I wanted to get something up there. And let me take a moment here to also get it over to our YouTube viewers. I may have to expand that, because this is another transmitter. That seems to be a popular combination of transmitter-receiver combinations. Let me unexpand that just one time, and it's stacked. I don't know if you have them stacked on top or side to side, but it is the infamous Heathkit kind of two-tone green, and really sounds good.
Okay. No, that's not the picture I gave you, Rob, but it did the job. I believe it's the same one. This one I'm not running the banana mic on it. I'm running the D104 on the thing. It is amplified also, so I got to keep it down quite a bit. Harvey got it going for me. It's actually my radio. I bought it from Harvey, and Bill Harvey did a good job of fixing it up. It just takes a little bit of operation to keep this thing going, as you can imagine. It's an old radio, and it's really fun. It's really fun to keep this thing working. Back to you.
Okay. And I think I have the proper photo now, and I can expand that. The Comanche Apache combination. There we go. And there's the D104 mic, and I don't know if that's a power supply that goes with it, and the map. That's a nice setup. And I remember Harvey mentioned something about it being sold or gone, and my heart skipped a beat, because I thought we're not going to hear that anymore. But obviously we're going to hear it in future episodes, and it's going to be at a great location from which to hear it. So I'm really glad that's where it is. And if you ever have to get rid of that one, I'll be talking to you. Radio number 12. I believe this also has the ability to do more than 11 meters, which would not be uncommon for that type of thing, but sure sounds good here on a 27085 transmitter receiver combination. Where is the speaker in the receiver? If you told me, I guess I'm not listening here tonight, but is the speaker in the receiver, or do you have an external speaker for it? Over.
Yeah, you say something about a mobile. This is a mobile radio. I'm up on the right link with you on this. Of course, you can see the power supply on the right-hand side and the speaker on the left on this thing. I tell you, they had to have a strong dashboard to hold these things up, and they did back in there. You remember how strong they were. You couldn't put them on one of the new cars if you tried. You'd have to put it between the seat, and it's too big for that anyway. Okay, Dennis, hey, thanks a million for checking it in. I enjoy doing it, and you make it worthwhile. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, there it is, because I was going to say that is a mobile situation, but they didn't have the speaker was not built in to the receiver. So that was yet another extra item. I'm going to say in a mobile situation, that might be the only thing that would make sense, because then you could put the speaker anywhere you wanted. And a lot of times when you had to mount those receivers, you had a top throw speaker or something was under the dash. It was very hard to hear, but holy cow, that would take up the center console in the 59 Edsel with no problem. It's the Heathkit, it's the Comanche Cheyenne combination, and I'm showing the original price on $129.95. That seems like a real deal. Okay, that's just for the MR1. There was two pieces, the Comanche and, of course, the Cheyenne. So probably similar, so about $250 if you bought them together, and I'm not sure which one, if that included the power supply or not. Thanks, Paul, for bringing it by. I hope we hear that one more in the upcoming weeks, because it really sounds good.
Oh, boy. Yeah, they sold, the receiver was $129.95, and the transmitter was $105.95. Interesting. They didn't get a whole lot. Well, I guess back then that was quite a bit of money. Anyway, all right. Thanks again, Dennis.
Because you had to put it together yourself.
And there you go. It showed up in a box. When you opened the box, there was a nice cabinet and a case, and their knobs were in a plastic bag, and there was a meter in a plastic bag and component parts. And so it would probably take you a week or so if you were good. 1959 and 1962. So that was a good run for the for Heathkit. That was a good run for that Comanche Cheyenne series. And in their, they also had an Apache and some other names. They were into the Native American names on the radios, and I don't think anyone complained about that. So we are standing by at the Old Tube Radio Network. And there is 46 Hello Radio. Okay, I think you said you're on a sonar. The audio is breaking up a little bit. I'll take a look at the meter here. I'm not sure if you're driving the audio or not, but give me another transmission in what I believe is a sonar. Okay, yeah, sonar FS-23 with some interesting, almost similar to the Heathkit controlled carrier modulation, but this one I think is doing it on its own, and it may not want to quite do that. So the audio is a little bit rough, but it's keying down. And our first sonar of the evening for Radio 13, take another transmission. Okay, yeah, I don't know if you have an external watt meter, but if you do, or and can hook it up, you might take a look at it, because there's something in that sonar, because I don't believe they made them to do a control carrier that is not quite happy. Maybe there is, what do we call when you go inside and you reseat all the tubes, maybe it needs to have something like that done. But the FS-23, and if I'm good here, I'll grab a picture of one, is making it for Radio 13 on OTR, over.
Yes, this is the first time I've been on this one in quite some time. I dug it out. I wanted to see what it was going to do.
All right, well, guess what? It just decided that it is fully warmed up, or whatever the device was that wasn't making contact is now making great contact, and that was a great transmission. Take another one.
Yeah, the watt meter is pretty dead legal.
Okay, I've got a shot of it here. I think Everett used to call it the baby Browning because of the gold case and the black knobs, and it's a fairly decent sized radio. There we go. There's a Sonar FS-23, and you're getting 100% on the transmission now, so looking good and sounding good, over.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and thanks for bringing by Radio 13 from Sonar. The FS, some call it the Fun Service 23. Some people call it the Frank Sinatra 23, which might be more apropos for 1965 when it came out, and that was a $300 radio. One of the first to use frequency synthesis in the crystal, so instead of having 23 individual crystals for all the channels, you could get by with, I think it was about 13 or so, and you had some multiplication factors going on. The only bad thing with that, and it happened on my Regency, is if you lose one of the crystals or one of the multipliers goes off frequency, then you have a whole block of 4 or 5 channels that is also off frequency. The Old Tube Radio Network standing by.
Dennis?
This is the Basic Dennis, over.
Hey, Basic Dennis. On Paul's Heath kit, that was the one that I was just working on, the last one I checked in. And I still have mine. So I'll be checking it in periodically. Well, there's a bird on the way. The receiver, the transmitter is already, well, we'll say at the shop and converted. The receiver should be here shortly. And then I've got to find a power supply. And then there'll be a third one here. And then another gentleman has made a request, so I'm going to try and find a fourth one. And we'll feed. Now, what's interesting is these are kits, so somebody had to put them together. And thank goodness that some wannabe TV or in the 50s and 60s, quote, didn't try and put one together. But these were put together by amateur radio operators that knew what they were doing. Because every single one that I've looked at has been, quote, professionally put together. This last one that's at the shop, the transmitter was rewired to be used with a different receiver, so they changed the power hookup on the back. So I put it back to the way it was, but that was the only difference, and everything looks good in it. So we're kind of lucky that as kits, these were put together by people who knew what they were doing. Just wanted to let you know that there's still 2 here and a third, and hopefully a fourth, if I can find it.
Wow, okay. Well, I guess if I put in my request, maybe by the time we get the 10th one, it'll be there. Actually, I have, and I can't remember if I checked it, and I think I did, but it's not as easy to convert as that, and it's around the same time because it's the two-tone green color as my a DX60B. It doesn't have a matching receiver that will do 11 meters, but that was my novice rig, and the DX60B also has, I think, the screen modulation controlled carrier, and runs the was it like a single 6146 or something? So it's similar to that. Of course, it was a base unit, but the Cheyenne Comanche much nicer combination. All right. Sounding good, and Harvey, we really appreciate all your efforts that keep these radios up and coming and on the air and distributed around, because otherwise it would be a very slim net sometimes, I think. Before we go, I know there may be some other breakers, but the Jingle Singers are saying they are a little bit behind in the queue here. But we're having good time with the radio, so we don't necessarily need to promote the magic that is OTR.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic
Old Tube Radio.
for you.
And I want to acknowledge Neil, SWL147, because I missed your post before. And you are confirming what's happening here. Yeah, what did you do with the skip? It was real quiet today. I didn't hear one speck of mini grass coming through at all, and we didn't have any e-skip like we had last week. I even went over to check the numbers, and I think we were down to about 37 on sunspots, which means not many at all. And you see, like you said, that probably means 10 meters isn't doing too good. Sometimes the only way to tell is you can go down to the lower frequency there and listen for the CW beacons. And if you're just barely hearing the beacons, you can pretty much guarantee you're not going to be hearing anything in the phone mode. And yes, congratulations to the Old Tube Radio Dwarf tossing team. with the Olympic gold medals as the Olympics is on tonight. OTR standing by.
How about a late check-in from the Radio Lounge?
We like check-ins from the Radio Lounge, especially when they sound as good as that one. Over.
All right. Well, greetings. It's obviously SWL 47 still awake. What can I say here? No, we didn't have any high-quality ham radio operators assembling this radio from kit. But I'm sure we had some Japanese folks that were probably pretty skilled assembling my Robin T123 with the magic eye. You know, the jingle singers were just talking about the what were the magic numbers. And I thought, well, it's also in a magic eye tube, so there it is.
All right, and what do we have with the magic? Oh, we have the helicopters. A CB1 stopped by tonight, so for those of you who like magic eye tubes, here is a different version, but also displayed in the front panel of the radio, the Robin T123. And this one, instead of being like the Pac-Man where the little V wedges come together at the top as you modulate or you increase your modulation, this one looks like the two illuminations meet somewhere in the center if you're doing it right.
And I got to ask you a question. The radio that you're talking about, that's, I think I know exactly which one that is. That doesn't have the little bar on the radio itself that you push down to transmit, does it?
Indeed it does. It's their first CB radio for CB1. It's almost like a speaker case, and it's got the push-to-talk bar.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly which one that is. Yeah, those are great radios, but, unlike that one, as you said, this, what is this, a 6 or 813? I think it's a 6 or 813. It's a kind of like a vertically mounted magic eye tube that, there's a bar at the top and a bar at the bottom that the more you speak into it, they kind of converge on the center of the tube. It's actually really good. I do like it kind of compared to the other round tubes, the Pac-Man style tubes, because number one, there's much more activity going on. There's more movement in it. And number two, when it is fully illuminated, it's a bigger tube. There's more glowing to look at. So it's fun, definitely fun. No talk bar on the radio, but still cool.
And I believe on this Magic Eye tube, you're looking actually, if you were holding the tube up with the pins down, you're looking into the side of the tube. You're looking right directly into the side. With the other Magic Eye, the one that's got the V wedge, you're actually, if you would look down on the top of the tube, down towards the base, I think you're looking through the top of the tube. So they were pretty crafty in figuring out how to get these things to work, and not just in CB radios, any type of modulation, indication, also tuning. I have an old broadcast AM/FM receiver that uses the Magic Eye for a tuning. As the signal gets stronger, or you get a stronger signal tuning in your radio station, then the two little lights come together to let you know that you are properly tuned in. And of course, I think I've got a reel-to-reel tape recorder that also uses like a 65 for showing you that you are modulating the audio tape. Well, I'm glad that you had enough energy to key down a radio. This is a good choice. We have not had a Robin this evening, so you have done your duty. Over.
Oh, good. Yeah, I got too lazy to barbecue, so I did gorge myself on calzone or calzone, however you want to pronounce it, from Mamma Mia. So I'm just like meat and grease logged right now. But everyone sounds great on this old Robin, And as always, thanks for giving us a venue to check in these old fun toys.
20.
All right, and glad to be here so I can do that. And it has gone by quickly tonight, as I noticed. We're just tuning in the 10 o'clock hour, so we'll be counting and mounting soon. But we want to make sure we get all the radios. We got Scooter, the radio cat, that wants to. We want to have some sharp claws up here. Or you're probably hungry, huh? Well, don't worry, Scooter, because we'll be off the air soon, and I can get you a Scooter treat for being so good. In the meantime, speaking of being so good, hello, Harvey.
Okay, number 20 on one of my Tram TR27C. This is the Tram CB two-way radio versus the other one that says Citizens two-way radio. Both are the same model. This is the one with the spot and the crystal receptacle for the external receive crystal below the meter. The other radio has the spot below the meter and the crystal, external crystal on the side, lower right-hand side of the radio. Anyway, I thought I'd do a Tram tonight. Why? Because Phil likes trams. So there you go. Anyway, this is the 27C. It's got a kind of a light blue color. At least I think it's blue. And both radios are pretty much the same. Gray knob, gray speaker grill. I've got an amplified D104 on this. And I think I'll do one more maybe. And that's it tonight. After that.
Okay, and we have had one Tram this evening. We have a lot of double plays tonight, so this puts the Tram up there in the double play area because Phil brought by the Titan 2A. This, of course, came out a few years before that. And as usual, I may or may not have the right version that I'm showing up there, but it is very close to what we're showing for Radio 15. And you can't go wrong with the Tram either on the transmitter or the receiver. Over.
That is most correct. You can't go wrong with a Tram or Browning or a couple other ones. You can go wrong with some. The Brownings and the Trams, they actually use real metal, like steel, to construct the chassis. On the Demcos, they use aluminum.
Really, like they're doing with the Ford trucks now. Oh, interesting. All right, well, I see. I was trying to do a quick key there, and I didn't go quick enough for you to catch you in the middle of switching radios, which you've done. And so you are now on, I want to say the R68, T68 perhaps?
Oh yeah, you can always tell this thing. This is the kind of subdued, sweeter sounding thing. The other ones are kind of more obnoxious. Yeah, that's this one here. The Demco seem to use aluminum or very thin, aluminum chassis because you can't solder to them. So let's put it that way. And half the time you look at the chassis where the power transformer is and it's already bent from the weight. The Buddies also used aluminum chassis, and most Buddies are kind of bent a little bit. You got to bend them back. So Demco, Buddy, and there's another one I think. Kind of they used aluminum chassis with heavy transformers, and kind of didn't do too well. But anyway, I like the Browning. Was the first Well, I had a Lafayette, HB 444, and before I had my Mark III, so it was a pretty darn good radio. I'm still looking for a decent 444 because I miss it. Anyway, the R68T68 by Browning Laboratories, custom D104 with the Browning medallion on the back of the microphone. We thank you, Dennis, and we'll catch you next time.
All right, and we thank you as well for bringing by the radios there. If you're over at YouTube, there's an advertisement for the R68T68. This is before they went to the very large style transmitters where they were putting in the sideband, but it makes for a nice combination, showing a possible external speaker. And I think there was a wood cabinet that you could buy to go around the radios, and it sounds good. I don't know if you, Harvey, I don't know if you heard Larry 54's Browning S9 R27 combination. That had one of the best sounding pings I have ever heard for his orchestration and the tone quality of not being too screechy and not being too bassy and kind of making a full in and out. And like I said, if I had a way to record it and put it for sound effects as a Browning, that would have been it. He was doing a real good job with that particular combination. But there are certain ways you can peek and tweak on the ping, so you can drive yourself crazy. Radio 16, the Browning R68 T68, the original Golden Eagle. We will stand by doing some counting and amounting. If you've got a radio, we'll make sure we check it in. And of course, the Jingle Singers here letting us know how to spell our favorite three letters.
Let's do some spelling.
OTR.
Let's do some adding.
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio. Old Tube Radio.
I was looking to see if I answered all comments. Sometimes I'm not real good at getting all the comments answered because I am busy with paperwork and other things, but I do appreciate those that give us information. And are there any other stations that would like to check in? The temperature's going up. I can tell it's been a busy evening here when the temperature of the radio room increases, even though the outside temperature is going down. That means I'm expelling my hot air, and we're really doing a lot of transmitting to fire up the tubes here. Any other stations wanting to check in SWL-wise or Tube Radio-wise here on the Old Tube Radio Network?
46.
And 46 in the radio room once again. Hello.
How about a Robin Tango 123? I saw one a minute ago, but I had to dig mine out.
Yes, we can do that. The Robin's always sounding good. We have some of our listeners who enjoy hearing radios that have the magic eye, and the Robin T123 is one of those. Over.
Definitely has one of those. Nice looking radio, too.
Yes, it is. Robin did quite well. I think they sold a lot of those radios. I remember hearing them. They always sounded good, and they were one of the few manufacturers to pick up the chassis and produce a 40-channel version as well, but this being the earlier one in the series, and always doing a good job. Wonder what kind of microphone you're using on the Robin tonight.
Just one D104 I use on probably half a dozen of my radios.
Okay, and that is not a bad idea. If you can get one microphone that works well with everything and some pin connector compatibility, then it makes things nice. You are Radio 17 tonight. I think just looking at the collection, you are burning the dust off the tubes quite well tonight. Okay, and that transmission was a bit garbled, so obviously, as you mentioned prior, a lot of the radios haven't been fired up in a while, so probably burning off dust and reestablishing those little pin connections. Thanks for bringing by the Robin, and good to hear you back on the air. Yeah, actually, that transmission was still a little bit garbled. Very, very similar to what was happening before, where it seems like there's a bad connection somewhere.
Well, all this stuff's got dust all over it, so God only knows.
All right, and that was 100% that time.
Okay, well, back to the drawing board.
Okay, I have the same issue sometimes. Everything seems to work when you initially try it out, and then when you get your allotted airtime, there may be some other issues. Anyway, Radio 17 doing a good job, the Robin T123. Having trouble with my foot switch here tonight. All right, counting and amounting. Where are those jingle singers? They'll let us know that it is time to be getting out of here.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us
Old Tube Radio.
and be modern.
All right, any other breaking stations for OTR? And I will not forget to do this like I did last week. The orchestra is ready, and when they play, we know it's time for counting and amounting.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR totals.
The current and final totals as they are tonight. Thank you. On your Old Tube Radio Network. In the SWL department, how many did we have? We had 49. A total of 49 check-ins, 10 on page 1, 13 on page 2, 14 on page 3, and 12 on page 4. I'm looking here. I don't believe we added anyone new. Next week will be the third week of the 8-week roster. Radios tonight, we did quite well. If this was an Olympic event, we would be getting a gold medal tonight as we had 17 radios. Starting off with, but let me first say there were a lot of doubles tonight. There were a lot of 2 trams, 2 Robins, 2 Hallicrafters, 2 Demcos, in fact, back-to-back Demcos. But the Brownings came through with 5 by the end of the evening here, and we'll go through everything, let you know what stopped by. Also let you know that the archives will be up after the program here, after the net at oldtuberadio.net. If you'd like to hear how your radio sounded. You can click on, after you load the OTR magnetophone tapes, you can click on today's date and look for the Tube Radio check-ins and might hear a familiar voice. Radio number on the number one on the list tonight, the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A, and that was Harvey working on a new one for his out in the shop there, and it sounded quite nice. I think whatever he needed to do or did do has been done well, and good job there, Harvey. SWL25, nice to hear Jerry on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, a radio that has served as net control a couple of times in the past. Phil, for radio number 3 tonight, 56 on his Demco Satellite Deluxe, followed by Larry, Mr. Boardjammer, on his Demco Satellite. The Demco modulator is working quite well. SWL 45, Paul on the Hallicrafters CB1, push to talk bar and all. Mr. Boardjammer followed that with his Browning S9, the 8-channel version, the R2700 receiver. Radio 7 was also Larry on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. Chris was radio number 8 on the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. Phil on his Tram Titan 2A. Always good to hear the double sideband tram. Chris on the Hallicrafter CB3A little phone. For some reason I was scribbling tonight. It's very hard to read what's going on here, and it's my own fault. Radio, that was radio 10. Radio 11 was the Browning Eagle S23 R27 combination from Larry. Really good to hear Larry's collection. He has a large collection of radios, and we haven't been hearing them for a while, so it's always a treat to be able to, for him to unlock the door and let us into the radio room. Paul on his Heathkit Comanche Cheyenne. Good to know that that radio is still around and sounding, I don't know, I'm not sure. You know, Harvey, no offense, but I think it actually sounds better up there on the hill. It really sounded good. 46 on his Sonar FS23. And, I thought he had another radio. Why don't I see it on there? I wonder if I may have misnumbered somebody's radio there. I apologize for that. Anyway, 46, we did get the Sonar FS23 for Radio 13. Radio 14 tonight, the Robin T123 out in the radio patio. Thanks, Mike, for that. From the west side, Harvey on the Tram TR27C for Radio 15. Radio 16, you got to have it, or it's not an old Tube Radio Network, the Browning Golden Eagle R68, T68 combination, and then finally, oh, there it is. There's a second radio. Okay, 46 on the Robin T123. So he's getting the collection back on the air, and the best way to keep them firing up correctly is to make sure they get fired up at least once a week. And of course, the Old Tube Radio Network is the venue in which to do that. Thanks to our digital SWLs over at oldtuberadio.net who hang out with us, some of them quite late into the wee early morning hours, as they are not from the West Coast here. Thanks, Rich out in Florida. Hello, Long Beach. I hope we got what, two of the General Radio telephones, so we didn't do too bad. SWL 31 still hanging there from Hendersonville, doing a collection of their own. Now, there is a station that we would love to hear. There's a collection we would love to hear, just if we can figure out the logistics of that. I don't know if it's legal to transmit over Skype. Maybe we could look at them that way sometimes. Thanks to, let's see, Fresno Fraser. Who else is on there? Lots of stations come and go, but you know who you are, and we appreciate you listening and the comments you might make. And looks like Maryland is in there as well, so a good deal. All right, before I totally lose it, we'll say 73, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your additions to our collection, our on-the-air collection. With your collection. Thanks to Frodex at searchlawrence.com that keeps all the digital stuff going on at oldtuberadio.net. Thanks to Rob, SWL3, for all the work he does at old2bradio.com, and thanks for all the work you do to keep us going in our 31 years here at the Old Tube Radio Network. We'll catch you next time. That'll be 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time here on Channel 27 and at oldtuberadio.net, 73.
Good night. Quickie, Dennis.
Yeah, go ahead, over.
I missed the SWL count.
Let's see, we had a total of 49, and let's see, 10 on 1, 13 on 2, 14 on 3, and 12 on page 4.
Thanks. Good night and good show.
And 17 radios. So yeah, it was a busy one. The room actually heated up tonight with all the transmissions going on. So I'm getting out of the hot seat for a little bit. Scooter, where did Scooter go? Scooter wants a treat, and we'll go do that. 73, everybody, and good night to our YouTube channel.
Good night. Good night.
Thank you, Dennis. 77, waving in.
Catch you next time on YouTube.